Hello and welcome to another presentation from easyLog. This video is about our easyLog timesheet management software. This is a web-based application and therefore we'll begin this presentation logged into Google Chrome and then clicking on the easyLog login on our favorites bar here. So then I simply key in my name and password and will then be dropped into this screen, which presents us with a set of options as you see across the top. Now, these options can be excluded from certain users who may only be allowed to look, for example, at the clocking reports and therefore not be able to enter further details about clients, employee information, etc. So let's start by looking at the clocking report and then by describing some of the functionality you see here, you'll get a good overview of what the product is capable of. So we dropped into the clocking report, and what we'll see then for a selected time period, as you see here, is then a list of clockings in chronological order across those dates. So we have a couple of pages here, as you see at the bottom, so we click on page 2 and we'll see the other ones there and go back then to page 1. Now, aside from the set of options at the top, which I'll describe in a moment, we also have these parameters here which we can look at and allows us to define the reporting tools that we want to use. So for a start, you see here we've got a tick box to apply unpaid breaks. Therefore, the software allows us to define any period of time for a shift and the break length that would then be automatically deducted from that attendance. So in this circumstance, we have a 5-hour shift being deducted 15 minutes and a 10-hour shift being deducted a half an hour. Notice also I have a rounding section here. So if I click on that and then click on Create Report again, the software has automatically rounded the clockings according to the parameters we have defined here. So for example, somebody clocking at 7:56 has been rounded up to 8 o'clock. 8:02 clocking has been rounded back to 8 o'clock, etc. As you see, these parameters can be defined for both the arrival time and the leaving time. If I now click on the time report option and create report again, we'll now see where the corrected clockings come in and where the rounding has been applied. So again, you can see from the clocking in and clocking out here, these have been rounded as you see, and then producing a total of the number of hours spent on each site according to the column you see here. So if I then click on the summary only button here and then click on create report, then you see the software produces a summary of the attendance in total by each employee with then a company or organization-wide total at the bottom. Okay, so let's return to the main time report. So I untick summary only, click on create report again, and then we'll see again all the attendance times for the various members of staff across the period that we originally selected. This screen also gives me the opportunity to describe the various parameters within the software and therefore different structures that can be applied to the software for a different number of organizations and range of organizations. Notice, for instance, we have this column here called clocking source. Now this reflects what perhaps be regarded as a traditional work environment where an employee arrives and leaves at a single place of work. In this particular example, we have some care homes here called the Elms, the Willows and the Cedars, and you can see the employees come and go to those various locations, where in fact Jane here is working at the 2 locations. But in essence, this would be appropriate to use a traditional clocking in type device, such as one that uses cards or tags, or indeed a biometric reader, such as a fingerprint reader or a hand scanner. And staff would record their attendance on one of these type of devices. Notice, however, that we have a column here called client. That's because the software can also be configured so that staff can have their attendance recorded at various client locations. So this might be, for example, in the care environment where staff are visiting clients in their own homes or in supported living accommodation. It could be for a security organisation where staff are going out to check on various properties and locations, or indeed in a maintenance organisation where engineers are going out to client sites to provide a maintenance service. In these scenarios, obviously the clocking device needs to be completely different to reflect that. And easyLog has a variety of options. So staff can use an app on their mobile phone through a GPS signal in order to define their location, and they simply open the app when they arrive and open it again when they leave to record their comings and goings from that particular location. easyLog can also provide a specific piece of hardware where staff then touch that against a location identifier when they arrive at each location. We also offer landline telephone-based solution where staff call a free phone 0800 number when they arrive and when they leave, and those times then are automatically recorded and displayed with the software that you see on screen now. We also have options involving tablet PCs, which can be used both in the community type environment and also within a traditional single place workforce. So let's now take a look at some of the reporting options that exist within the software. If you simply drop down on this list here, we see we, for example, can report by employee. The software then shows a list of employees here. So let's just click on a couple. I know I've got some attendance records here, and then we will create the report. And therefore, again, we can see the attendance times here across the various locations, and also it automatically adds up the total of the time and provides that detail at the bottom for across the range of employees that we selected. We can then again use summary only, create report again, and we'll see and be back to the original report that we saw. We can also run the report by clocking source and job function, so I click on that. We can then select, let's say, 2 or 3 locations, select a particular 1 or 2 job functions, and we'll create report again, and then we'll see that total broken down for us. And in fact, it only applies across that total to Jane here. If I then untick the summary and create the report again, we'll then see a bit more detail on that. Okay, so that concludes this presentation. Thank you for watching. If you'd like further information, please explore our website, easylog.co.uk. Also call us 01892 834406 or email us on info@easylog.co.uk. Thanks again for watching.